Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda Accord 2.4 EX automatic. Mileage at the start of this road test is 63,465 miles, and the registration number of the car is FD09XBV. The reason we do these road tests is very simple. We just basically want prospective buyers to actually see the cars in operation prior to coming to see us. That way, if there's any issues with the vehicle, we can and we will relay them back to you. We're very well aware that a lot of our customers are willing to travel not just from the UK but also abroad, so the least we can do is to go to the time and effort to do this. It's also done on the same very quiet country roads in this lovely part of Gloucestershire where we're from, so hopefully be representative of what you'd feel yourself. It also happens to make for a very relaxing test drive as opposed to kind of inner city test drives, which can be quite stressful to say the least. So the car itself, as you'll know already from the advert, with just the one private lady that's owned the car from new, she's had the car serviced very well indeed. Car went through our workshops this morning, had a service and a pre-delivery inspection, and it sailed through. It's brakes, everything, tyres, all of loads of tread, loads of depth on the pads, so all in fine order. Engine itself, obviously being a Honda engine, starts very quickly, settles to completely smooth, even idle. Typical of the breed, it pulls absolutely beautifully through the rev range. I'll come back more in the driving dynamics of the car because I am horribly biased about these vehicles. This is, in my opinion, one of the very best Hondas ever made. But just to sort of tick a few boxes, no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the vehicle. Engine's been running for quite some time now, and it's running at a third, which is exactly where it should be on a Honda car. Engine then feeds through into the Honda automatic gearbox. They do these boxes incredibly well, very, very tough indeed, very smooth shifting, nicely spaced ratios to match the engine absolutely perfectly, not just in terms of power and performance but also in terms of economy. Even with the reputation this has as being, pretty much unbreakable as a gearbox, you should still do the same checks I do on all cars, which is obviously pop the car into neutral to select drive and then reverse, and just if there's any delays or thumps in engagement. Also gear changes should be very slick indeed, and this is perfect. It drives absolutely perfectly, which you'd expect with such a low mileage on the car. So in terms of powertrain of the vehicle, absolutely fault free, drives beautifully. Talking about performance and economy for a second, they do the 2-litre version, the auto, which is a fine engine and a lovely gearbox again. I've had a number of these 2.4s, and I actually, in real world driving, have always got better economy out of these than the 2 litres. Reason being, you're just not having to work the engine so hard, simple as that. And it also makes for a more peaceful trip, because the engine's not up and down the car's not up and down the gearbox as much, whereas the 2 litre has to work harder. The 2.4's got loads of grunt, even from low down. Obviously at the top end it absolutely zings through as always, but you just don't have to work the engine as hard. So that's where the extra economy actually comes from, and just from my personal experience of them. Steering of the car is an absolute major plus point to one of these cars. It's beautifully resolved, it's got lovely weight to it, very, very accurate indeed, perfectly tuned to the chassis as well, absolutely perfectly tuned, top of which steering wheel, size, rim, absolutely spot on. The whole thing just feels absolutely perfect. Steering itself, it just tracks bullet straight. There's no vibrations coming back through the steering wheel at all on the car. What I'm also checking is obviously up to the sort of legal limit where up to sort of 60 miles an hour on the main roads. There's no vibrations coming back through, and I always get our delivery drivers to check at the motorway speeds because it is a pet hate of mine. I can't feel anywhere in the steering at all, by the way. It just feels just perfect on this car. Chassis of the vehicle, again I'll come back to the driving dynamics more in a second, but what I'm looking for on road test just any signs of wear, and that's normally manifests itself in terms of sort of clonks or bangs from underneath, which is normally where you get a rubber bush perished or a little drop link chattering away. But again, absolutely nothing on this. It's smooth, silent in operation. You'll hear it going over bumps quite normally, but there's nothing coming back through on top of that. Brakes on the car, by the way, just give it a good old shove. Really good brakes. There's no pulsing, vibrations, nothing at all on there. They pull the bonnet down straight and true, not left, right or otherwise, so they're all in very, very fine order. Looking around inside the car, it's in absolutely beautiful condition in here. It's been kept brilliantly. Build quality is banded about so often as that sort of cars are very well built, high good build quality. This to me is real world build quality. You know, a 9-year-old car, which there's not a chirp, a buzz, anything, a rattle from the interior. It's just rock solid in here, and it feels solid. It's a lovely, lovely, solid feeling car. They're just brilliantly made, and it's also a lovely car to sit in and operate. You've obviously got a multitude of adjustment with the electric driver's seat, and that obviously also has 2 memory settings for, you know, obviously the 2 drivers, all working absolutely perfectly. By the way, you've got heated seats, again with high and low on those. But it's just the shaping of the seats brilliant on the car. I've had plenty, so I've done loads of long trips, and I suffer with bad back, so I know just what it's like over a long trip. But these are really, really fabulous. Just quickly checking the cruise control whilst we're up at speed, and that's all working absolutely perfectly. But looking around inside the car, again, sat nav, as you can see, they're working absolutely perfectly on the car. Stereo, air conditioning pumps out absolutely ice cold air. As I said, the heated seats work absolutely perfectly. All the gauges, all the instrumentations, absolutely spot on. All the pixelation of the readouts, absolutely perfect as well. You've obviously got auto lights, auto wipers on the EX models, again, all working exactly as they should. But the quality of the switch gear is what's so astounding. It's just got a really, really high quality feel to every switch and every actuation, which I simply adore. So to come to the only thing on this car which doesn't work, and again, the whole point of the videos is to be critical as well, but it's not uncommon on the Accords, by the way, so don't think it is, or any of the Hondas or similar brands. The hands-free telephone, the Bluetooth system, is deactivated on this car. Reason being, quite often, especially once you get sort of much over sort of 7-8 years old, they can actually become a bit of a battery drain and drag the batteries down. So it's quite common to find them actually deactivated. It is actually quite an old-fashioned system. They're handy to have, they're nice to use. But unfortunately, it's, you know, the pairing process, it doesn't transfer the whole phone book over. You've got to do them individually by voice activation. So it's a fairly protracted affair. Modern systems are far, far better, but it doesn't work. It's not something we're going to be attending to, but I wanted you to know that before coming to us. So onto the car itself, and the reason I love these cars. In my experience, there's lots of really good cars in the marketplace, and there are all makes and models, and some are good at lots, you know, some things, and some are good at others, but rarely do you find a car that seems to have every single box ticked. And when I look at a car like this, what I want good performance, good handling, and it's got both of those in spades. It's right at the top of the tree in both of those. The engine is an astonishing unit. It feels to drive more like a 6-cylinder, so lacking in vibration and harshness. It's a really wonderful engine. The handling is just brilliantly resolved. It's not as in-your-face, sharp handling as, say, a 3 Series, but it's the body control, the damping, the accuracy through the bends. And I've taken one of these on the racetrack, so I know just what they're like at the limit. And they're an amazing car. They really, really are. On top of which, you then have built into the more practical things, like, is it practical? Has it got big boots? Has it got plenty of space? And again, all of those. It's also beautifully built, as I've said. It is by far and away the most reliable car in its class by country mile. The engines are absolutely bomb-proof in normal service. Gearboxes, again, tough as old boots. and they're incredibly long lasting. So it's just one of those cars Honda got absolutely right, and it's a car that you don't get in and feel cold driving. It's not just an A to B car, it's a car that you can actually really enjoy driving. And you find exactly, as with this one, people tend to hold on to these Accords a long time because they probably do try other stuff and just nothing quite matches up. And so to find low ownership is very, very common indeed. As I said at the start of the video, the point of it is to be critical, and apart from the HFT, that's the only thing I can find on this car, because it drives absolutely beautifully. It really, really does. And I'm judging it by personal experience of having owned many of them, some with very, very low mileage, by the way, as well. Having said that, if I've missed something on a video, please don't hesitate, do call us, and I'll happily answer any questions you might have about this car.